Good evening, Sharpies, and welcome to 2023. It is a new year, new show. I am noticing that for the first time ever, CJ and Anthony
Both shut out.
nowhere to be
Shut out. And Anthony liked the notification
found. I
about the
know.
close. What is going on?
Yeah, what you doing? So, Vera Jordan, congratulations on being the first one in the room, followed by a very close photo finish with Patrice Marshall McKenzie. Welcome from the West Coast. Glad to see you both in the house tonight. Hey, Vivian, see you there. Sabrina. Oh, it's ladies' night up in here. I'm loving it.
There are a whole lot of ladies.
Oh, look at did you hear the voice? He's like, yeah. Oh, and the ladies.
Hey, ladies.
Right. In case
Well,
you
it's
hadn't
Founders
noticed,
Day. It's Founders Day weekend, so
your voice is gonna be deep anyway from.
the mind is on the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to this first show of the first year, and Vera, as Joy has so capable. Here's Anthony Turner. Hello to all. So we are doing this very special report because it is the beginning of the year, and already there's so much confusion and drama in our world today.
Yes.
I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Joy Stevens, and this is Steel Sharpens Steel 2023.
2023.
So, actually, you'll notice that it is. Wait a minute, hang on. Let me make sure I get this right. Is this right?
Oh no, it's the other. It's the other way.
We're doing Wonder Twins once again because, for those of you who follow the show and have been with us for the last year and some, you know that Chuck is our lawyer extraordinaire of the show, and that Sharon is our political mover and shaker. Well, she moved and shook some things. And so at the moment, neither of them is here tonight for varying different reasons. Remember, it was J5 not too long ago. And Chuck, we barely got Tom in here.
I was on the road coming down.
I got to work late.
Yeah, but see, you're doing it forward, and so even though there you go,
Right.
I'm not a shimmy person.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a reverse rotation.
I just realized I was doing that wrong. This is what I've been doing, y'all. Whenever he plays the what is it? After Dark. Yeah, pour yourself a little something. Light it. I'll be over here. Burn, burn.
So the interesting thing is that I'm having a little bit of a viral moment on Instagram right now, from the homecoming, October 2022 homecoming. Not the video that I thought would become the viral moment for me, but there are two videos in which I'm featured, and a lot of people are, is that you, Tom? Yeah, yes, it is.
I've seen that video, at least the one of you when you get pushed into the stroll.
Oh, you've seen that one on social media?
I saw.
I know I shared it, but the Pretty Connected is the one that has me in the mix right now, and then there's another one. But anyway, that is not what I mean, this is the first show of the new year, and so we can really do whatever we want, just like always. We can always do. I see that we are like in we're kind of in the Matrix. So I'm red pill, and you are blue pill today. We're doing a little bit of that.
Here's the secret: they both go to the same place.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what pill you take. We in here tonight.
It really doesn't. We in here. Yeah. We in here. Yeah. So that's kind of what the whole deal is. I don't know about you. There were some things that there was a lot of traffic about 2022, and so glad that we're done with 2022, but 2023 has not been.
No, 2023 started off trying to take out one of the Avengers in a accident, like Jeremy Renner. Did you hear about him getting run over by a snowmobile?
Yeah, it's
he's alive.
Yeah, he is alive, but his eye is all messed up, and
like he got
all messed up. It's crazy.
He got run over by a snowmobile trying to help somebody else.
Renner got run over by a mobile.
Really? Really, that's what you want to do with your life right now?
I mean, I'm just saying he's a rich actor who's probably going to be okay.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
So the reason what we put in the show description is
Snow
uh,
plow.
the discussion about Kevin McCarthy. Oh, snow plow. Oh, damn.
Oh, and he was driving it. Oh God,
Oh,
I didn't. I thought your name was Hawkeye, bruh. It's really happening.
yeah. Well, he only got one eye now, so
He
so
went from Hawkeye to Cyclops.
that's what I'm saying. 2023 acted like the start of 2016. Mark Stepney, I agree. It's already some craziness. I don't know if you all have experienced the loss of any loved ones, but three people that I know personally, or are people who are, mothers of people I know personally, have already passed this year, and so
Mm.
2023 is not starting great. I just gotta say, just for me, it is not super awesome,
Yeah.
but it is even less super awesome for Kevin McCarthy. When Joy and I were talking about this, it was like, well, we got to deal with the Kevin McCarthy stuff because this is the biggest story in politics right now. And on the anniversary of the January 6th insurrection, riot, failed coup riot,
That's
direction,
the
all
thing.
of that, Kevin McCarthy is facing an insurrection of his own within his GOP caucus. Now, there have been multiple failed votes. What we were saying before the votes even started were that there was an indication that he was not going to have the 218 votes that he needed in order to be elected as the speaker on the first ballot. And that was going to be the first time in 100 years, 100 years, that someone has not been able to be elected on the first ballot. Now, the most, it was like 332 votes, I think, was the most votes that happened. But it's been literally 100 years. And not only it took 9 votes in 1923 to get a speaker, he has already surpassed that. He's
Mhm.
failed 13 votes, and they have adjourned until 10 p.m. So just about
They
an
didn't gave up trying for the
they
time.
gave up. I mean, they've had to adjourn every night. Last night, they tried to adjourn to spare him some embarrassment, but he couldn't even get the votes to adjourn within his own caucus. So, can we, Patrice? I guess we can. The most notable member of the GOP House caucus is a person who was, for many of the votes, offered as an alternative
Mhm.
to Kevin McCarthy. Now, it was a tokenish offer. Wasn't nobody really behind him, but because the Democrats have been lockstep voting for Hakeem Jeffries. And in
Right.
fact, it took until today for Kevin McCarthy to get more votes than Hakeem Jeffries was getting, because Hakeem had all 212 of the Democrats. And McCarthy was always significantly lower than that. And so he said, well, I've got the most votes. You had the most votes in the GOP caucus, bruh.
Yeah.
You ain't had the most votes
Those
out
votes,
of all
period.
people who were candidates. So they've
But you know,
been playing games with him.
one of the things that aggravates me is I've seen the GOP do this time and again honestly since Sarah Palin,
Mm,
where they look at what we'll just call, the other side, Democrats, liberals, whatever you want to call it, the left. They look at what's happening over there and go, oh, we can do that. And then they do some, surface level, non-researched, tokenized attempt at getting something similar to say, see, we have that too. So if you remember, when Obama first ran for president and he
hmm
was up against McCain and Palin, they picked Palin because they thought she's young and snappy and she has sex appeal just like him. Not looking at her track record, not looking at her history, not looking at whether or not the chick even knew what she was talking about. You
Not
know,
looking at her unwed baby daughter and the meth addicted son.
how you
And
preaching abstinence and you can't do it in one? You had one job, but
why
anyway,
are you a poster girl for abstinence with a whole side baby?
whole side, yes.
What are you doing?
And then you think about right here in Atlanta or in Georgia, I forget that it's the rest of the state, Atlanta and surrounding areas where, you have a really good, strong candidate for the Democratic Party. And they're like, oh, we can find a black. Here's a black. And he played football, Herschel Walker. And so you end up with the same thing. On the surface, if all you did was look at two pictures, then
Mhm.
yeah, they're equal in picture. Matter of fact, Herschel's face is a little bigger, but they have
As
nothing
is
in
his
common.
neck.
Is there a neck?
Well, it is kind of
The neck.
like a fleshy mass that
It's a
connects the bottom of his mouth to his
yeah,
collarbone, kind of.
yeah. He put the neck in connected. Yeah, yeah. And so
He has a struggle neck.
he has a strong neck. Stretch Armstrong looking at. But anyway, they're doing it again where they're like, oh, you want to put up a black? And I'm saying it this way on purpose
Right.
because this is the way when they talk about African Americans and closed doors, they say the blacks.
The
And they're
blacks.
not even the only ones that do that. But my point is, they're like, oh, it looks like this. We have something that looks like this, and they look
Yep.
no deeper. And that's what aggravates me so much. I would rather them find a moderate, like a McCain type, someone who is middle of the road, who sometimes can be a little leaning left of center sometimes, or even more often right of center. I don't care. Someone that can be impartial, and let's vote for that person. You know, your mic is still on, bro.
I do.
Okay. um, um, yeah, and you making we are talking about your boy, but yes, he did attend FAMU and finish FSU, and I'm not taking away from him. All I'm saying is I've seen them time and time again not fully vet or recognize that someone is capable and then put them forward. Even what was your boy, the one that died of COVID for attending the
Herman Cain.
McCain? Yeah, yeah.
No, Cain. Herman Cain.
Herman Cain. Thank you, Herman Cain. Yeah. God rest his soul. I wish him and his family. I wish his family no ill will. I wish him no ill will. But I do feel like that was another. And they're like, look, he's even darker. Like that aggravates me. It aggravates me when we don't put any substance into it. One of the other things that aggravated me watching those proceedings when they're voting is hearing what was it? What's that dude's name? He stood up and voted for Donald Trump for Speaker of the House.
Oh, Gates.
Gates.
Hair
And then
gel.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's little chicken head self is
Bigger than
next
that.
to him. And
Mhm.
she's like, that's great. And she's clapping. This isn't a joke. The administration and running of a government of one of the largest powers in the world is not a fucking joke to turn around and do these things just to stunt for your boy. And that's what's wrong with politics as a whole right now, is it's a series of sound bites and stunts with no substance underneath it. And those, like, because I'm still a Bernie girl in my heart, those like Bernie Sanders who are really trying to make a difference. I'll even throw Ocasio-Cortez and the squad in there to try to do something. They are seen as, there's just, it's either too liberal or not enough flash. And that's just ridiculous. Let's stop doing this celebrity, big brother celebrity nonsense with our government. That is very dangerous.
Well, but because Trump did what he did, and the truth about what Trump did is not so much that he was some sort of genius. He just recognized innately that the freedom, quote unquote, the Freedom Caucus was the animated id of the GOP electorate. And so instead of trying to be a Jeb Bush, who is a moderate kind of common sense sort of whatever, or John McCain, who was a straight talking kind of mavericky, whatever.
Maverick. Yeah, I had no problem with McCain. I really
I
did.
really, until he picked Palin.
And that, I honestly think that was what elevated Obama into office. Was I saw interviews with older Republicans who were like, how dare you pick such a nincompoop as your running mate? They were offended that you thought you could get away with that. But then look at where we are now, not even 10 years later.
If John McCain's people had run him with Colin Powell, Obama would not have won. I'm telling you right now, because I remember when I was blogging about it, I said the first black president is not going to be named Barack Hussein Obama. It's just not happening. Oops. Talk about bad takes that did not age well.
Patrice, you make a good point. Has she passed any bills? She's got her name on the green bill, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what her legislative performance has been to date, but I will walk that back. Like, you're right. I can't say. I know she has a lot of Twitter sound bites, et cetera. It's the same problem I was talking about before. A whole lot of flash. What are you doing for your constituencies? for your constituents back home is what I want to know, especially in the House of Representatives.
Well, to be fair, everybody who is a House member doesn't get big signature legislation that they are a sponsor of or a co-sponsor. So it's not unfair to say that when Ocasio-Cortez votes for bills that do matter to her constituents, she is serving her constituents in that way. It is also not unfair to say that as a progressive firebrand, she is raising awareness of issues that she feels her constituents find to be important. So it's not always about legislation. You look at the freshman class of 2020 from the GOP side, what the hell have they done? Except yell and make bad pronunciations of simple words and, bonsai and all those other foolish things that they do. So I credit Ocasio-Cortez, if for nothing else, because again, it's not all about necessarily the legislation that you get passed. I give her credit for being a person who presents as having integrity, who presents about caring about doing the job that she was elected to do. And I also give her credit for being a person who was a working person and then had the wherewithal to come to Congress and be an intelligent voice, whereas you have Lauren Boebert, who barely skated in this time, 500 something votes, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are about as ignorant as the shaved hooves of the cow repair videos that make up the majority of my reel feed. And you know that when they pull the cow
off the cow's hook,
off the hooves, and then they scrape the thing, and it's like, wow, that looks like it's painful. It's just a nail. That's all it is. It's just, keratin. But it looks like it must hurt because it's a big old knife. Them shavings have more intellectual capacity than those two women put together.
I'm not with you.
I'm just saying. So it is, and I agree, Patrice, governance is important to me. And it is interesting to see how it is so unimportant to the GOP caucus. Because what people may not fully appreciate is that the liar, George Santos, Anthony DeValder, who is not the scion of Holocaust survivors, who did not work for Goldman Sachs or Citigroup, who did not graduate from Baruch College or New York University. He has stacked more lies than a Donald Trump tweet and used that as a resume upon which he rode into Congress. And the person who he defeated is hot as fish grease about it. Put a whole ass New York Times op-ed together with both low-key shade and high-key shade about this claim.
All the shade. Yes.
And Brazil is chasing his ass for them checks he kited 2 decades ago. They're now reopening their investigation because he was supposed to pay the money back and never did. EYE graduated from
I graduated from
Baruch. No, he probably said Baruch.
Baruch, right?
Because he is right.
Lies. I want to say something about this comment by Patrice. First off, profile picture is fire. Secondly, the GOP would rather eat their young than govern. There's a lot in that statement. When we talk about things that I've seen time and time again, I'm going to pull a subsection of GOP members of the GOP who are Trump supporters and also women over 50. That's the subsection that I'm talking about. I have seen them. I have talked to them. This is not third-party hearsay, etc. I have talked with them, to them, about why they support him. I've heard them say, well, the president is just supposed to be a man, come out of their mouth. I have heard them say they're not going to do this. They would never hurt Medicare. They would never take away veterans' aids. They would never do these things because they blindly trust, the same way they might blindly trust their husbands. They blindly trust their husband's party to do the right thing. And then it became almost a counterculture, right? To say, I support Trump. He can grab my pee anytime. It was a game because they didn't see themselves being in any real danger. And this idea of eat their young, look at what they've done. Look at what they've done, especially when we talk about allowing things to fall into place so that you do overturn Roe v. Wade, so that you do have interracial marriage at jeopardy. It didn't end up going, but it was in jeopardy for a moment. They don't care. There's nothing to do with them, right? They will sacrifice their own daughters to maintain their husband's power. And that again, it's all dangerous. All dangerous.
Couldn't be me.
Mm-mm.
So let's take a look at the Kevin McCarthy situation. As I was alluding to before, George Santos is the least of the issues that are affected by not having a speaker. They can't adopt rules. They literally can't do anything without a speaker. Mike Bartlett, my fellow HCASC alum, and offering always very trenchant analysis. We pulled it down. I was just about to quote him. There we go. Haven't the GOP been trying to decrease government agencies for years? Looks like they're succeeding because this is only a glimpse of the debt ceiling debate to come. And that's one of the issues. After failing in 2 days, McCarthy finally made some headway with the opposition coalition by basically giving concessions about the forthcoming debt ceiling debate. So they squoze through an omnibus funding bill in the final moments of the Democratic control of the House, and we've maintained control of the Senate. Increased
the enemy of half-assing it.
Oh, I mean, in the last moment and passed this $1 trillion omnibus bill so that we pushed back the issue of whether or not the debt ceiling needs to be raised. But that's always the big thing, except that the debt ceiling doesn't have anything to do with fiscal conservatism.
No.
The debt ceiling has to do with GOP nihilism. There used to be a time when there were people who actually did care, their principled opposition to raising the debt ceiling was at least couched in a little bit of integrity, unless, of course, they were in charge of all the levers of government, at which time their profligate spending was legendary. But at least you had some people who were like, I really think this is a problem. I have grandkids. I don't want them saddled with $75 trillion in debt that will never be repaid. Except that in real world terms, we're on this planet. The debt's probably just going to get pushed into the sun until it goes supernova. Nobody's going to pay any of this debt. It's so funny to me that, the little interest rates are cracking up and racking up. And it's like, ooh, it's 17 trillion. Now it's 18 trillion. It's never trillion.
Yeah. Trillion.
We're not stopping. Ain't enough gold in the earth.
Reminds me of something Cedric the Entertainer said a long time ago. He's like, if he was president, be like, they want how much money? Just tell them we ain't got it, dog. Like, that's gonna be the answer.
Right.
We ain't got it. Right. I mean, what are they gonna do?
What, take over the country? Come on, banker.
Yep.
If Russia, legendarily the most powerful military, most feared military force on the planet, can't even succeed against Ukraine, I gotta believe that
no military force. They had
them people ain't trained. I was listening to an NPR report. This guy was in Belarus. He's a Russian soldier, young guy. He was in Belarus. They were supposed to be on combat training. He was like, it was more like camping. They didn't do any military drills. And then their commanding officer, they were celebrating this basically kind of like a Russian's Veterans Day sort of national holiday. He said his commanding officer said, tomorrow you will go into Ukraine to fuck some shit up. Like, no plan.
Ukraine is coming out like Patrick Swayze and Red Dawn. Like, they just coming out the woodwork. I mean, trucks and shovels and shit and winning.
The Ukrainians are like, we don't want you here. And they getting pushed. The Ukrainians are so cold. They killed a bunch of Russian soldiers while they were sleeping. They were like, nah, you killed my grandmama. Sorry, dog. It sure is, Mike. You ain't never lied.
That's a whole nother show.
It is a whole nother show, to be completely honest. It is a whole nother show. So here we are, finally, after conceding to the debt ceiling crisis, Kevin McCarthy incrementally got some votes. And even though we kind of danced off of this,
I have
Byron Donalds was insisting that he was not a token candidate. First of all, bruh.
I have a risque picture to show. Is it okay if I show the picture I put earlier?
Sure. I ain't got no problems. Yeah. So this is basically from New Kevin City.
Right. Don't be a menace to South
Yeah,
Central.
don't be a menace to
Your
South
juice on the
Central.
Senate
Your
floor.
juice in the hood. Yeah, exactly. So basically, he's doing anything to get these votes, and he got a little more traction, but there are still 6 holdouts, and so they had to adjourn. Now it's about just an hour before they come back. I don't know if it's going to make it, but if they don't do it today, they would either have to do a special session tomorrow or then just come back noon on Monday.
The
And
thing is, nobody wants to compromise. That's another thing that has been progressively getting worse over time with
yep,
our government employees is nobody wants to compromise. Everybody wants to dig their feet in, double
yep.
down, regardless of side. I've seen it on both sides.
Oh
We
yeah.
refuse to talk to each other. We revel in the polarization of
Mm-hmm.
any topic. I could come in and say, you know what? I really like Gouda cheese. The left is trying to make you eat Gouda. I want American cheese. Like I can already hear that argument.
And it's not even smoked Gouda.
It'll be some sort of like leftist plan to get rid of Green Bay. Like it'll just be a mess.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be that way. And I don't know how we get back because this didn't start with Trump. It peaked with Trump. It's been this way for a long time.
It ripped the sore off when Trump came in, and now it's just been a festering wound. Pus, drain, stanky, just, can't put enough Band-Aids on. Hydrogen peroxide just makes it fizz for a while. And to Mike's point, Hakeem Jeffries has had a slick, uniform 212 votes. There was one vote he had where a person was in surgery, so he only got 211 as opposed to the 212. If there were 6 GOP holdouts, not the holdouts on the far right, if there were 6 principled, Kinzinger slash, maybe Cheney-ish sort of 6, if there were 6 Republicans who'd be willing to say, you know what, we're just done. Hakeem Jeffries is
just have it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's let them have it because they would be ostracized. They would be primary. They probably wouldn't serve. But hell, George Santos ain't gonna serve again no way. So might as well just make it happen. You in New York anyway, George.
Instead, similar to the Civil War with Atlanta, they'd rather burn the whole thing down.
Burn it.
Than give an inch.
Shut it down for the last time. That was from Dark City, by the way. But it's just there is no conscience. They pretend that this is what their constituents want. Their constituents don't know what they want. Their constituents think Marjorie supports Trump. That's the extent of their thinking about governance. No abortions, Trump, gun.
Right. Well, like one of my friends said from Canada, he's like, can I tell you what I think of America? You won't get mad? I was like, sure. What do you think of America? He goes, I could sum up America like this. Sex is bad, yay, guns. And I was like, yeah. You ain't far off, son.
No, not too far.
Sex is bad, yay, guns, French fries. Like that would add.
Freedom fries.
Freedom fries, burgers, yes. Don't try to make me healthy.
Listen.
Right, I had fries today. But anyway, this one, Mike, you're so right. It speaks to their level of entitlement. F everybody else.
Right.
F right for the country. What am I getting out of it? Am I going to be famous? Am I going to be able to parlay this into some, long career or talk show at the least? Or can I do like Palin and get my own show? That's all any of them care about. Well, I won't say any of them. A lot of the ones that are making a lot of the noise have no interest in real governing.
And the interesting thing is that they don't recognize that Palin got that show, but she ain't got that show no more.
They all think they're going to be better.
Well, but I don't think a lot of them do believe that, frankly, because Palin, and I never really saw the star power. It was always very huckstery, the whole wink, wink, and the
Tina
Republicans and white
Fey
people.
did Palin better than Palin did
I
Palin.
know that's right. And it was all just, it was so smarmy and just, we don't care what they think. I
This
just want to
is
make
the
you
realest
happy,
comment
hon.
we have seen tonight.
I know that's right.
The D students are in charge.
And you know what? Kevin McCarthy wants to suck that D. See what I did there? You can't throw something like that my way and not expect I'm going to take a swing at it. It just doesn't work. Ooh, oh, okay, Patrice, say it.
Yeah,
It's
I
your
think
fault.
remember,
You put up the meme.
it is my fault. But you know what that reminds me of? Oh, what was it? The Fire Festival or whatever?
Oh my God, yes.
And
The
then
white
all the
bread
things that
sandwiches and the
women do.
flimsy tents and those mattresses. Luxury villas for everybody.
Remember, old boy said that he had to perform some acts in order to get some water, some bottled water or something.
You said some acts. Her friends didn't ask for her appointments. Oh,
Ain't nobody trying to put you on the committee.
Don't
You were
nobody want you to say nothing, girl. Go somewhere.
Go sit down somewhere.
Go to Georgia. Hell, stay there, hun. Don't nobody want you. Vera said, no, you didn't.
Yeah, you a hot mess.
Y'all know who I am.
Yes, that's why we're here.
I ain't never changed. I mean, I'm just saying. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Lord, please don't bring him into this.
No, please
He
don't.
might still be trying to run for president in 2024. So
Who knows? If he's still alive. I mean, honestly, Kanye is on a vector which I can't really countenance. It is the ultimate undoing of an artist that I mean, I wasn't really ever a Kanye stan. One of my favorite songs was that song he did with Adam Levine. Um, this I don't know if it was on College Dropout or the Freshman, whatever. But he had some song that it had this tinkling piano thing, and the video was an animated video, and Adam Levine was singing the hook, and it was I liked that song.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever that song is. Yeah, and something, the airplanes in the sky or something.
Yes. And so that's a song that I really enjoyed by him. But I wasn't one of those people who was like, ooh, Kanye's a genius. I thought Kanye was getting over. Heard him say. That's the song.
You know what? Patrice is hitting batting 1,000 right now. So McCarthy was way more bipartisan in the California legislature. He got brand new in Congress. Again, we're seeing this happen more and more. Like even though Trump did not drain the swamp, that doesn't mean that the swamp doesn't exist. And I think that it poisons everyone that goes in there sooner or later. If you got to walk in with your mouth open, once again, McCarthy.
Take them teeth out. The problem, I think, really that is at the heart of McCarthy is that he is a Californian. I think these right wingers who are, mostly situated in the Bible Belt, the South, the Midwest, just the idea of a Californian being the person who leads their caucus is troubling for them.
Because they don't like California.
They don't like California.
It's still
bluish. To your point, the person who was talking about his career, and Patrice again, talking about his career in the California legislature, when he actually did have to build bridges, there's no space for compromise. And one of the things that he offered as a token to try to gin up some more votes is the opportunity for any single member to call for a vote of no confidence to replace his ass. Bro, you don't know the Pandora's box that you are opening by making these deals. These clowns don't
no forward thought. They don't care what happens tomorrow. They live in the moment. and you can't run a country living in the moment like that. You got
Goldfish.
to think down. If we had enough, because there are some, there was a pretty decent number, but if we had more legislators that really did think beyond their own tip of their nose, we wouldn't be having these arguments about climate change right now. It'd be so obvious. It's so clear, you know?
Yeah, you're right, Patrice. He's selling everything. Kevin McCarthy is Marvel in the 1990s. Buy Spider-Man, buy Fantastic Four, just buy X-Men. Just, we got to raise money. We got to do what we got to do to stay afloat, blah, blah, blah. You give away the big franchises. They were lucky that they didn't sell Blade, and they were lucky that Kevin Feige was able to turn the Avengers and Iron Man and these other characters that weren't nearly as popular into cinematic gold. But McCarthy doesn't have that roster behind him.
No, he's over there looking like Pattinson and Batman. Like, just no.
Yeah.
Rich and entitled.
He's looking like He's looking like Batman in The Joker. A 13-year-old child with a butler standing behind him in a wrought iron fence. He is nothing. He is nothing. And to go from Pelosi, who, say what you want to say about her, she had a grip like this on that caucus. Wasn't nobody crossing Nancy. What not Nan a person
you didn't want to F with. Even right now, you don't want to F with.
Fuck around and find out.
All the time. But you know what? This thing about term limits, to me proves, okay, you got to run it all the way back to late 1800s, I believe. It may have been the early 1900s, but the late 1800s, once upon a time, we'll put it that way, lawmakers didn't get paid.
Hello.
You had to volunteer to go up there, which is why the seasons are the way they are, because they had to get home to farm and harvest and all that kind of stuff. But lawmakers, you volunteered to go up there. You got nominated because nobody else wanted to do it. It was a shit job. And you had to go up there and govern for a little while and then get out. Nobody wanted to stay there forever because you were missing out on your real life, on your money, and et cetera, while you were out there playing around in Congress or the House, et cetera, et cetera. Then I want to say it was in the 20s. I'm really not clear on the timing. It may have been the late 1800s, but at some point they were like, we're doing a lot of work and we're missing stuff at home. We're not farming like we should. We should have a salary. And from that moment forward, we've been having trouble with our government because they've never voted to not give themselves a raise.
That's here in River City, we got trouble.
Right. And so over and over again, now you got people who are building a career out of being a politician because you got salary, and then with salary came Secret Service, and then with Secret Service came better insurance than the rest of us have, and all these other perks that last in perpetuity, even if you're out of office and all this other kind of stuff. Why wouldn't you want to run for government? Some senator or something, because you set for life when you're done.
For life.
Right? And so
make me want to run, hell.
Then it became, I can use this position to further my family's interests or my friends' interests. I mean, Warren G. Harding did that back in was it 1920? I think he got elected, which led to a lot of corruption because he put a lot of his cronies in office, which ultimately led to the stock market crash in 29, years after he was gone. And people look at what was happening in 29 to figure out what happened. You got to roll it all the way back to Harding to figure that out.
And realize that the reason that the 1923 speaker vote was so problematic was because Harding died and Coolidge came in.
Yes, there you go.
And so now it's like, oh, fuck.
You want to talk about history repeating itself? 1920s, speaker has trouble getting elected. Fucking plague, Spanish flu, right? Now we got COVID.
Was the end of the flu.
And we got COVID, and we got nobody being able to get elected once again. The more things change, right? The more they stay the same. We got the same problem. Same problems we've been having because we're the same people. All of this goes towards, by and large, because I don't want to make sweeping assumptions. People who have historically had power in this country refuse to grow, refuse to get better, refuse to see anything other than their way being just another option, let alone a better way of doing something. Think about, let's take it to Obamacare. That wasn't Barack Obama's idea. He plagiarized Romney's idea, but then they didn't even want it because it had black fingers on it. right? And they didn't want to admit that that was viable option, and they don't want anyone to be better than. Matter of fact, look up Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's a YouTube clip where he is talking about Europeans when they first started venturing out, especially Anglo-Saxon Europeans venturing out into other countries to overtake, the British Empire, blah blah blah. And he said, and they never looked for anyone smarter than them. It never occurred to them
That
that
anybody's
other
gonna be
countries,
smarter.
other nationalities, people that look different would be smarter than them, which is why they say the pyramids are made by aliens and other such nonsense, because God forbid they know some math that you don't know. Right.
Right.
But now here we are again. Think of all the things that have happened in this country in modern times where we are discovering now in 2021, 2020, 2017, whatever, that there were women or Jews or Black people or even gay men, etc., that have had significant impact in this country. We never heard about them because they don't want to talk about nobody but themselves. And then if you are the best, there's no need for you to get better. So they believe their own bullshit.
Right.
And they refuse to do anything other than what they've been doing. And we all know what happens when you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Right.
And here we are. Okay, I'm done.
You know what's interesting to me about the idea of entitlement and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have two whole ass continents named after Amerigo Vespucci.
Yes.
Just because he said, I don't think this is Asia. Two whole ass continents with people living on it. And this clown has his name on half the damn world because of that exact thing that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't be anybody in the new world who could be of any worth or value. So we just gonna put a flag. It's like that comedian, the British comedian, Eddie Izzard.
I love Eddie Izzard.
Do you have a flag? No flag, no country. The indigenous tribes were like, we killing buffalo and stuff and having our own organized societies and things, but you don't have a flag.
Right.
Our country.
I want to say, you know what? It's we've got a long-standing history of comedians telling the truth.
I know that's right.
Laugh. Neil Brennan, who used to rock with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, he said that one of the few things that white people invented was credit. He said they take credit for whatever it was that you're doing.
Right.
He's like, oh, you didn't have a patent on this? I'll be right back. This is mine now, and I'm taking credit for it. Right. Even matter of fact, one of the reasons that the Native Americans gave up land was because they're like, nobody really owns land. What are you doing?
The idea,
sure, fine, you can own this land. Nobody owns this. But this idea of, matter of fact, privatizing all of the land in the United States and then telling people what they can and cannot do with their land is the reason we have to go to grocery stores right now. We could all have a little garden in our backyard with a couple chickens and a goat. And that way, if you actually own the home you lived in, why would you need to pay taxes? It would change the economy of the entire United States right there if we had it like that, which is why we don't have it like that.
I mean, I think that when we look at the state of the rest of the world, and I don't know if any of the Sharpies are Jack Ryan fans, but this season of Jack Ryan, season 3 of Jack Ryan, is basically kind of what is playing out between Russia and Ukraine right now. Because there's a hardline kind of revanchist group of Russians who, going all the way back to the 60s, have been basically preparing this means of putting Russia back on top. And you got this young guy who wasn't even alive when all that stuff started, but his sense of entitlement is that we are going to create this conflict and Russia is going to be able to emerge from it. Now, when you see that Russia can't even beat Ukraine, it kind of all of a sudden puts a very odd spin on the the whole premise of this season. I really enjoyed this season. I think John Krasinski is doing a great job. I love Wendell Pierce in the role that James Earl Jones made famous in Hunt for Red October. They have a sister on this season who is, in a kind of a power struggle with the director of the CIA, and she's a very ambitious person. It does look a little bit weird that to have Black people run around like the Czech Republic and Russia, who are supposed to be spies. I mean, seems like it. Wendell Pierce is not only Black, he's also not fit. It's hard to see him kicking anybody's ass. And in fact, he doesn't. He does struggle with somebody one time, and he does, but it's one of them things where it's like it's only like a 2-minute fight, and then he gets the dude. He actually throws the dude over some stairs.
Wendell
Pierce, yeah,
from New Orleans.
From Treme, yeah.
Yeah, went that one. Threw somebody over something.
Yeah, he threw him over some railings and
with his own body.
Huh?
With his own power. He threw
Oh, yeah. No, he didn't have any bionic enhancements or anything. But the reason the fight ended was that the dude fell down like 5 flights. And so his leg was all broke. And then Wendell had to like, hey, down the stairs and then stepped on his wound. And that's how the fight was over. But it definitely wasn't no damn fighting like in The Gray Man or in the Jason Bourne stuff or or John Wick where it's like close combat, fast stuff. No, they were tussling a little bit like this, and then he flipped his ass over. So that it wasn't exactly believable. But the point is that all of the backroom dealings and the layers upon layers upon layers of fuckery that went into this plot, and how the Americans don't want to believe that something like that could happen, and the culmination of the whole thing, it's very taut. It has elements of Red October. It has elements of Crimson Tide. It's got a whole bunch of different stuff. Like I say, John Krasinski is proving himself to be a very capable action hero. He is. He's a badass in this. And not that Mr. Fantastic is a particular, I mean, it's more of a cerebral role, not really a chop-sucky, fight guy. But he's extraordinarily credible to go from goofy
nerd on the TV from The Office,
right, to A Quiet Place, which is a very contemplative, slowly paced thing, to be this dude who's like literally running around the planet, kicking ass, like shooting people, like with no compunction and all that. Nice. I highly recommend it. But the point is that it's so interesting how art imitates life, in that you have this global crisis that we are watching, but internally in our own country, we are literally facing a crisis of people who claim to be interested in America, claim to be interested in leading, and they really do not care. They don't have any inkling of what it takes to actually do the jobs that have been elected to do.
If you look at the United States as its own organism, if you will, we humanize or personify the United States. We're teenagers compared to the rest of the world, and we are having some hormonal imbalances and changes right now. We're hitting like our second puberty, whatever you want to call it. But I do think, as we like to say, this too shall pass. No time soon.
Really? I was about to say
we're going to have to hit rock bottom like most addicts. We're addicted to our own bullshit, right? We're addicted to instant gratification. We lack personal accountability like most teenagers. Not my fault. Somebody else made me do, somebody else didn't do, and that's why, but not my fault. We're a litigious society. We love to sue somebody else because we didn't get something done.
3 teenagers.
Yeah, so you understand what I'm talking about?
It does.
And we look at a problem and wonder who's going to fix it because we forget that we're in charge, right? So it's a whole fucking problem. It is a whole problem. And
I love the way you pronounce that word, that modifier.
Say what?
You said a whole fucking problem. Fucking problem. You aspirated that F so expertly. The whole fucking problem. That was amazing.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to my friend Tia.
Okay.
Who brought me these little tiny chocolate It's lint. Yeah. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
what that
lint is
bottom one says,
delicious.
but yeah, it's little liquor filled chocolates. So when you saw me earlier, like bite the little top off the bottle
Right.
and tip it
Slurp.
up. There is cognac in here.
Uh-oh.
Let's see what happens with the rest of the show.
I know that's right. Now, I will say last night in honor of J5, I it's not brewing. Brewing's not the proper term. I assembled about 6 gallons of Noop juice and took it to the frat house in a couple of different jugs, because I had to walk up in there and they were like, "What's that?" I was like, "What you think it is? Is that Noop juice?" Bruh. And
I don't do y'all.
when growing up growing up fraternally in the South, the Noop juice that we made down to the frat house, when there's another dude out here from the South who makes Noop juice that way. But at the frat house where I was at last night, they had some Neo Noop juice, and it was not red.
What color was it?
Rosé, kind of. And they made they made that same recipe when at the Christmas party, and the guy said, "Hey, what do you think about the Noop juice?" I said, "Well, it's not red."
I
And
mean, all you need is red food coloring.
or other
You
things,
some red Neo in there and get some
right?
fruit.
But the point is that it wasn't red, and so I made a lot of Noop juice, and people really enjoyed the Noop juice, and I still have about 3 gallons left.
Is that why you came in and sound like you was talking to the ladies?
Yeah, it was a late night, and I was able to sleep, but it was a late.
She said Rose sounds disrespectful.
It is. It was. And big old chunks of food, like
juice.
like oh God
Oh,
damn. Yeah, I don't even know. Oh, what is it? What is it? Is it Ivy something? I heard for the
no.
first
She
time
don't know. She don't drink.
exactly that there was an AKA punch, which baffled me. I didn't know that the ladies had their own punch. I knew that the D9
We
organization,
don't.
right? But I heard there was an Ivy something, and I was like, oh, what they doing with the Ivy stuff? I never had that.
I on behalf of a sorority I am not a member of, we would disavow any knowledge of any such punches for any sorority.
Any pinches, any punches.
Pinches, punches, juices, and so on.
Dangs.
We drink tea and water.
Well, we are on the with pearls. We are in January, and J5 is the first of the founding dates of the D9 organizations. There are five D9 organizations that were chartered in January, and 4 of them were, if I'm not mistaken, all chartered or all founded at Howard. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
The 4 that are in January for sure, because the Alphas were not. That was Cornell, and Sigma Gamma Rho is Butler. But I think
the AKs, the Deltas,
the Zetas, the Sigmas, and then we were Indiana University, and then the Iotas are Morgan State.
Happy birthday to all the January
babies, like Deaconess Joy.
First, giving honor to God, who is the center of my life. I want to wish happy birthday to all the January babies. Everybody, please stand if your birthday is in January. Happy birthday to you.
January baby. And so we're coming on to an hour. And I would just like to say that it is good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
We took a long hiatus. Oh, Paul Statton, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
You have not lied. So we took a longer hiatus. I didn't expect to feel the pangs of not doing the show as acutely as I did. There was a lot more.
I missed doing this.
We really, really miss y'all. And I was like, so this is the first Friday of the year. So what we finna do?
Right.
And
Let's
Joy
do
was
that
like, I
together.
really want to do a show. And
Mhm.
so 28th, what is 28th?
I think that's
That's
her organization.
oh, okay. Well, thank you, Anthony. We miss you guys, you folks too. And so we're very pleased to be back. You will see some changes. Joy alluded to some of the changes, but one of the things that we're most excited about is the opportunity to bring in some folks to help expand the conversation. And
Right.
so,
If you'll
uh,
remember, for those of you that follow our show and watch all the time, you remember we had our two of our number one Sharpies, the two people always first in the room, CJ and Anthony, to
mhm,
join us on the show at one point. Just kind of it was a thank you for being such faithful followers, but also a little bit of a pilot to see, what's it like to have some guests from time to time. And it was bomb. It was great.
it was
So
amazing.
you will see us doing that more often for 2023. That's why I said new show 2023. We're going to be inviting more people on. If you would like to be considered or to be to secure your spot, so to speak,
Right.
to be a guest on one of the Friday shows, shoot us an email. We have an email address now that Tom is going to quickly type in
I
and
will type it in.
yeah, but it
I'll put a
is
banner on there.
Still Sharpens Show at gmail.com.
Gmail.com.
See, I knew it. I knew I could count on you. Yes. We got one. Will there be one? The doors of the show are open. Will there be one?
Won't you come?
Won't you come?
And I can say right now, so that's two S's after, so it's Sharpens and then show at gmail.com. And, it looks to me like Patrice has basically been auditioning for the
Right.
entire
All right.
show. She's been killing the game the entire time. And so, we have come to expect there are plenty of Sharpies who have type in some wonderful comments, and we often riff off of those comments. And so we're looking for more of that from you. And all we ask is that you don't have an AOL era internet connection, and you have
Some sort of high speed internet.
yeah, we need you to have some connectivity. So so we're not getting that.
Mhm.
But other than that, we love the idea of having some more voices. Mike
Mhm.
Bartlett, I'm looking forward to getting you on the show. So
Phil
uh,
Hairston, I know you out there. Looking forward to getting you on the show too.
yeah, so
He's our
just
military expert.
Steel Sharpens Show at gmail.com. We also have a TikTok. We are going to be posting more content. Our TikTok is also Steel Sharpens Show. And we have rebranded our Instagram. If you were following us already on Instagram, we are going to be doing more content, show snippets, and things like that, both on Instagram and TikTok. So, all right, Patrice. So, all of it now is Steel Sharpens Show.
Mm-hmm.
So Steel Sharpens Show is the I. So at Steel Sharpens Show is IG.
TikTok.
TikTok is Steel Sharpens. It's actually TikTok.com/at Steel Sharpens Show is what you'll do for TikTok. And
You just
so
search it through the app.
yeah, just search it through the app. We posted the one video. Was it the We Back
We
video on
back, yeah.
IG?
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have anything on TikTok yet, but we are going to have stuff on TikTok. So
Stay tuned.
we're going to be looking for different little snippets. If you guys have some ideas, you folks have some ideas about things that you would like to see as a little social media share, little meme worthy thing. All right, for the good stuff.
Right? She got that good Google Fiber internet.
And send us little notes or even time code of, hey, I'd love to see this moment. I'd love to share this. We're looking to grow the show in 2023. We want 2023 to be a season of abundance. We are ready to try some new things.
She didn't say he's a keyboard warrior.
First of all, I don't agree. I fundamentally disagree with that assertion, Cham. But we'll see. And at the very least, one of the things that we would also be interested in, if you want to record a question or comment that you would like us to address, You can just use an iPhone. You can send that video to Steel Sharpens Show. And we have done this in the past. We may feature your question or your topic, or if you have
Mhm.
a comment about something that has happened this week in the news, just like we show other little videos
Mhm.
from some of our favorite content producers across the internet. If you want to, get your Sharpie cam out and do something, we will be happy to feature you on the show. So Chan, if you deludedly think that you would not be a good guest on the show, but you do want to say something, we would love to get a comment that we could put on the show from you. So that's right. Anthony says Steel is going to the next level and we ready. We ready. So that's what we're trying to do in
Mhm.
2023. We look
One
forward.
other additional thing to think about as you all are sending us stuff. One
Mhm.
of the reasons that we really want to get into, using the TikToks and the Instagrams is because we want you to share the clips and things that we put out so we can try to grow the audience for this show.
Right,
We've got
exactly.
a wonderful, faithful squad. We would
Mhm.
love to see that grow and, share what we do with other people, get more folks on, etc. So when we start putting up these little 1 minute, 2 minute clips, it'll be easier to send somebody this as an example of, here's what they be talking about, about last night type of thing. Here's what
Right.
you miss. Yeah.
Here's what you're missing.
Here's the funny thing that happened at 37 minutes and 15 seconds. So you
Right.
don't have to try to scroll through the whole show when Tom says something way out of pocket. Because that's
So
what happened.
we are probably gonna we may start off with something goofy like the little shimmy contest that we had, because that's a quick little clip that we can do. We may do something with the meme that Joy shared that led to the conversation about the D students and
And
Kevin
wanting
sucking
the
that
D.
D. Yeah. So we're just trying to make more of an impact with a broader slice of the community, and we know that you all are an important part of making that happen.
Right.
So
But we do want to maintain our brand of classy,
exactly,
bougie, ratchet,
there you go.
educated, punditry. Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of classy, bougie, ratchet, we have not been on air on since the Tory Lanez was found guilty.
Tory Lanez is going to jail
Jail,
where he belongs.
where he
And
belongs.
a quick F you to anybody who
I
was
know that's
standing for
right.
him. Big, yeah.
And
I would
slandering Megan, and it's like they have a recording, y'all. They got a jailhouse recording. I don't even know why they didn't just say, Tori, we got you on tape, bro.
Bruh.
Like, why are you gonna plead not guilty, bro? Like, and then he thought he walking into the courtroom smiling and cheesing, like, see, that girl gonna lie for me. And so it's gonna create confusion. And I'm gonna be able to get off because won't nobody be able to convict me because there's reasonable doubt. That's not reasonable doubt if everybody thinks she's lying, bro.
No.
They know she lying.
In the
And
words
so
of Ice Cube, they got the little hooker on tape.
and the woman the little hooker was talking to.
Yes,
So
yes, that too.
just so we're clear. And you a Canadian national. So bro,
Bruh, go.
no
Go. You're
poutine
the
for
worst.
you.
We usually have a really good track record with bullying people out of Canada. What happened with you? Ryan Reynolds would never.
Not Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, so sorry, Tory Lanez, you guilty as hell.
Mhm.
R. Kelly released a Jailhouse album. Sorry. Um,
Don't
there's
buy the
something.
album. So we've had years and years and years of knowing that R. Kelly is a great musical genius, so whatever you want to call him. We bought all them songs before we came to grips as a group because we've known for you. We knew before Leah died that he was a pedophile. We looked the other way collectively as a society. Don't buy this motherfucking record. I'm telling you right now. Do
I
not
didn't look
buy
the
this
other way.
man's
I just
album.
canceled his ass.
Cancel. Yeah, I ain't bought nothing. I ain't bought nothing since I don't know. I was in college.
Yeah, 12 play.
Yeah, and
12
I'm
play came
extremely
out when I was in college.
But you can make the argument. Well, I got these CDs, and if I throw them away, it's gonna be out of his pocket. Don't you buy this motherfucking album?
Listen,
It better not go wood. Okay.
well, he's already gotten in trouble because you're not supposed to be able to do that. But that's fine. Listen. Even "Step in the Name of Love," which is a great wedding reception song, if I hear "doot doot 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 doot," I'm walking right to my table and getting a piece of cake. Not you bootleg 12 play.
That was the best
Wow.
thing. Yo. Before Napster, it was dude selling bootleg CDs out the trunk of his car. That's how we used to do it.
I mean, there wasn't when I was on the yard. Wasn't no Napster. Wasn't listen. You couldn't do Napster with an AOL CD. No, that's no way to download stuff. You got to have like a decent connection. LimeWire, just leave
Yo,
it alone. Throw it all away.
I remember I saw a meme say, "Remember when you used to give your computer syphilis just to get a mixtape?"
Yeah, Mike said it. Recorded tapes. When I
Mm-hmm.
was in high school, you get you a boom box and tune to the radio station that you like, and press record when you're
Top 88. Pop.
I remember going to the market with my mom and thinking, when I
Columbia
turn
House.
off the radio in the car,
I think I still owe BMG 12 cents or
oh, I
something.
don't no, that credit's been gone. But when I remember thinking as a kid, why when I turn off the radio in my car and it's a song that I like, when I come back, why doesn't that song just pick up?
Mm.
And now that you have streaming and all these other things, that's what you actually do. The chair. Well, see, Chan,
That's
and
why
I
you know
used
Chan
to
is
be a
younger
good
than
guest.
us. Chan, we had one phone in the hallway. I don't know what you talk about.
I
What?
know that's right. Internet. What? Whaternet? And
Right.
people talking about cell phones and stuff. Ain't no cell phone in 1986. Come on.
Nice.
It wasn't there. So
Mhm.
we thank you. I don't know if Joy has anything else that she'd like to say to help us close out the show. We miss you, Chuck. We miss you, Sharon. We are
Mhm.
wishing all of the positive vibes and energy your way. And we are prayerful for a positive
Mhm.
resolution.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
we are just going to do our best to continue
Mhm.
to provide the vibe that has made Steel Sharp and Steel such a wonderful
Mhm.
and informed community. We
Yes.
are going to be here. We am one be here.
We
So
going to be here.
we're going to be here.
And you know
So
what? I do have
Asia,
something I want to share with everyone. You know, we're talking about vibes, about it being a new year. Everybody makes their New Year's resolutions. Um, I have a friend, and she asked me, shout out to Tony. I have a friend, and Tony asked me, what are you leaving in 2022? Like, what are you not bringing with you into the new year? You know, I've left a couple people, definitely left a few organizations, not Delta forever, but a few groups, nonprofits, and stuff that just I could not manage, couldn't handle. I've left some bad attitudes. I've left some negativity, you know, and it's not an abstract thing. Like I'm forcing myself to get more into the habit of focusing on the positive things in my life to make myself happier, to feel better, etc. And so I challenge all of you as we talk about bringing in a new vibe and about, you know, starting this year off right. Leave some of the collective effery in 2020. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't damn do. Don't stay somewhere you don't need to be, whether that's a position, a job, a house, a relationship, a city. Don't stay where you don't need to be. Leave regrets in 2022. Leave hesitation in 2022 and get your best life this year. We're trying to blow up and step up this show, step up your life for 2023. That's my last little preaching moment. That's how I'm starting the year off, is encouraging you all to bring your A game for this year. You on mute, babe.
I will just tell you, I had a doctor's appointment on Thursday and foolishly wasn't thinking of the impact of getting a vaccination because the doctor was like, I think you need another booster. And I was like, yeah, I'm supposed to get a booster. And I got a COVID booster, my second booster, and I got a pneumonia vaccine. And I still managed to stay out in these streets and with Noop juice until
Yo.
1:30 this morning.
I've
But
had so many people around me catch COVID that I saw like the day before, and
listen,
I'm dodging like freaking Neo
like
up in this piece. But I got that
we
covalent booster.
we are in the endemic phase of COVID. I was one of those people when, when 2020 rolled around and March 15th, I was like, ha ha. They said it'll be until 2022 until this thing is licked. I was like, that shit is not true. And then here we are in 2023, new variants, new strains. One of my frat brothers caught that shit this weekend. So that is a blessing, CJ. That is a blessing. I had both of my shots when I caught COVID the first time.
Mm.
So it was like the emergence of one of them
You got
variants.
that Omicron
Yeah,
newness.
I got that Omicron toughness. But I haven't had it since. And then I got a booster after I caught it. And then I finally just got my second booster. So I have not had a lot of ill effects. But please, folks, COVID is very, very serious. And if you have never been vaccinated and you catch one of these new strains that have been dodging the vaccines, it can be, I know people who have died. I know people who were hospitalized for weeks and months.
And had the long tail. I know people who caught it in 2020, like summer 2021, that are still experiencing like flu-like symptoms, like never feel good anymore.
Right. Always fatigued, always tired. So, listen, if you get a flu shot, go on ahead and get a COVID shot. Just protect yourself, please. We don't need any of our people succumbing to a teeny weeny microscopic thing that will ravage your body. We just don't. We got
enough problems in this country without worrying about a virus. Get vaccinated.
We do. And so just please, we didn't talk about. Did we even talk about Wakanda Forever? There's a lot of stuff we haven't talked about.
We didn't talk about Wakanda Forever. Oh God!
I don't know that we did. I mean, maybe we did.
I was 3 minutes in crying. I cried with the silent intro. Marvel.
Yeah, when they didn't have anything and it was all Chadwick. Ooh, Bashira Velasquez. Yeah, that was a lot.
You know how easy it is to scratch your eyeball when you gotta like wipe tears with a napkin from out front. It was like, yeah, it was terrible.
And so we'll have more show. We'll have more of what you like. But with that, I'm going to say I'm Tom Cunningham.
I am Joy Stevens.
And this is Steel Sharpens Steel.